For day 22, my drawing to explain how to make my home more energy efficient is taking my house design and my yard design, putting them together to get a broad perspective of the entire property with notes on the house design paper of what I would do. I'd like to start off by saying, in a perfect world where I would say own the property, which I do not, and I had unlimited money, who does mostly, I would tear down the whole house, and instead of it facing Gwill Street, which goes northwest, southeast, I would take this front of the house and flip it where it's facing Ohio Street, which would get us closer to a house that has west east directions, which is more efficient overall to keep the house cool in the summer and collect heat in the winter. And of course, in a perfect world, I would rebuild the house to make it applying the 5 passive house principles to create high insulation, thermal bridges, and air sealed layers within the walls and everything, and to keep away pollutants. Out of all the videos of day 22 and 21, the one that fascinated me the most was the geothermal system. Basically, because we live in a world where to be environmentally friendly or conscious, we tend to think it's not economically feasible. But with technology like the geothermal systems, not only is it economically feasible, but it is also way better for the environment and overall sustainable. Now, realistically, I would think that if there were to be a vertical geothermal system, since vertical geothermal systems is the best for confined spaces, that would be placed in the front yard, being that it's the smallest piece of land that is on this entire property. Knowing my landlord, he's a bit of a penny pincher. He would want to go with the horizontal geothermal system just because it's the most economically feasible. We also have a well. That's one benefit of where I live, is that even though I'm in the city, I'm not consuming city water, which I love. We are consuming well water. So, of course, an open loop system is also realistic for geothermal energy. Now in a perfect world, again, going back to the video on where I would have a pond, if I had access to the third parcel that's over here that the landlord's in the process of actually selling away, there's a shed here basically, and then on the other side of the shed I would have a giant pond, and I would love to have a pond loop geothermal system. Mainly because from a permaculturalist perspective, it would seem to be the most efficient and best way to go, being that permaculture is all about connections within systems. If I were to have a large pond here and a pond loop geothermal system, then the pond is serving many functions, not just for heating and cooling the house, but also for providing extra water for the food forest guilds and the vegetable garden as well, creating more connections than less. So my personal preference for a geothermal system would hands down be a pond loop system. Plus, you have the additional caveat of the connection of the ecosystem. You are serving the house, you're serving the permacultural garden and food forest, along with promoting better ecological systems for the community as a whole outside of this property by bringing in more wildlife with having a large, flourishing pond. Zooming in here, we can see some of my notes of things that could realistically be done to the house as it stands now. Replacing the roof, it's like a darker roofing with white roofing would be very much efficient to reflect the sun. Installing low e-glass windows to do the same thing, keep the sun away, keep heat away from the sun, away from the inside of the house would be great. Sunshade areas on my roommate's window and my window, mainly because it is west, so the sun is always setting. We're looking out on those two windows. A sunshade device here, like a visor or something, since the sun is always rising from the sliding glass living room that is over here. Technically, it's kind of more over here, but either way, there's that. And pretty sure that's it. Thanks for watching.